Not while you married, don't.
Welcome to Make It Make Sense.
Make it make sense,
Make it make
Soulmates.
sense. We're here today, gathered here today, on the topic that we all should be talking about. Sometimes we don't talk about the topics that we should talk about. But today,
we're talking about it. Today we're healing out loud, so we're talking about it. Things left unsaid that need to be said.
I'm Gus, this is Kiana,
Hey, Soulmates.
and Soulmates. We are here to make it make sense. Today, what we're going to make sense is the whole total scope of relationships, particularly a marriage relationship. The marriage, the divorce for a lot of us.
And after the divorce, because the relationship don't end.
Co-parenting.
You got kids, right?
Finding your next relationship. We're going to talk about how it all plays out and how it played out for the both of us. Stay tuned. Keep watching. And if you do decide that you enjoy our content, would you please hit that like button, subscribe so you never miss an episode.
Yes. Tune in, Soulmates.
And let's dive in.
Okay, so
we both ready for this one. We like,
I know.
Hot topic.
So the other day, Gus and I were talking, and the topic of relationships came up.
And one thing we got stuck on a little bit was...
What we get stuck on? I'm unstuck.
She's unstuck. It was my issue this time. I was the unhealed one. We were talking about how I went from being married, divorced, had to co-parent, and somehow or another we moved on from it. What was that experience like?
Yes, that is not an easy experience, and unfortunately, a lot of us will experience it at one point or the other, whether we ourselves will experience it firsthand or we experienced it growing up with our own parents. I was product of both because my parents separated when I was 8. Then I myself ended up getting divorced at the age of 36. So it was different dynamics, both of those situations.
Right. Now, me growing up seeing my parents, I never experienced a divorce with them, but I had a couple scares. Like there was time when they would argue and fight. And I can remember vividly as a child thinking, which parent would I go with if they did decide to divorce? So I take that from the other angle. I never experienced a divorce, but I had the anticipation of one.
Interesting. And you know what? I didn't, because I never saw my parents fighting or arguing.
Wow.
And then when my mother sat me down and tell me that she was separated from my father, I was confused because I didn't know why she was saying that. I never seen them argue. Okay. So for you to even have that anticipation because of what you saw, they remained together. But then my parents, I didn't see anything. This is what happens when we choose not to heal out loud. I'm not saying that they should have been arguing, but I guess, I don't know, as a child, we all think about what we expose our children to, but you also got to expose your children to the truth and honesty.
Exactly, right.
So.
Now, me being married, when I first got married, getting a divorce was something I never even would have thought about.
Nobody thinks about divorce, right? When we get married. That's not what we want. We're not getting married. At least I know I wasn't trying to get married to get divorced.
Right. You want to get married to stay together. That's the whole point. Right. I will admit, though, before I got married, I did have some, you know how we call them red flags today? Mm-hmm. I think, not casting any judgment on her, but what I'm saying is, I should have known that there were things that maybe would not have worked for the both of us down the line. Mm-hmm. And I was willing to either ignore them or thought that maybe some things would be different or change.
Interesting. Because for me, so you thought that some things would change. I didn't want anything to change. Okay. In fact, that was the reason why I was against marriage, because if it wasn't broke, don't fix it. But I knew I wanted to be with this man for the rest of my life. And then when we got married, guess what? He wanted us to change. I wasn't trying to change. I didn't understand we were supposed to. What are we changing? As far as I'm concerned, this is just a piece of paper. That's
Right.
what I thought.
But ironically, one thing that did change was the thing I never thought would change,
What's that?
and that's our friendship dynamic. Um,
Talk about the foundation.
yeah, exactly. Before we got married, we were friends. Like I would say, best friends. I don't know if she would have said that now, or if she
Okay.
would say that today. But for me, I felt like she was my best friend then.
Help me understand that, because I was having a conversation with a friend
Mhm.
not too long ago about whether or not our partners need to be our best friend. And I had to think about it, because my best friends, I don't have that same dynamic that I would have with my partner. Now, absolutely, my partner should be my friend. We should have a friendship.
Right, right.
But I don't know if he's going to be my best friend, but we should have a deep connection, though. But there are some things I'm going to tell my girl that I'm not going to tell my guy,
Right, right, right.
just because it's just a woman thing sometimes. And it's just like a sisterhood thing.
Right. I honestly, I'm gonna be honest. I felt like I was marrying my best friend.
Okay.
So, for jump ahead a little bit, for that to be the one dynamic that changed that I didn't think would change, that made it even more of a
Challenge.
challenging. But I was gonna say more of a hurtful thing when the one thing we lost was the thing that was probably the best in the beginning. We had the friendship.
Right.
Right. Yeah, so.
And I think a lot of times you lose that when you get married, especially when things get bad, you lose the foundation, because we forget that at the root of why we even got together was love. But now we are just, what we struggling for? We just fighting to be seen, to be heard, to be understood, but we're not focusing on the core of what we really, what do we do? Why did we get married in the first place? What
Right.
was the purpose?
What brought you to that
What
point?
brought you here? Right. And I don't know if you did, but I know when I got married, we didn't talk about what the expectations were, what was marriage supposed to look like, because I didn't have examples. Like I told you, my parents were separated. Most of my aunts were either single, divorced, not in a relationship. So he didn't have the best example of marriage either. So when we got married, we just figured, for me anyway, I just figured it was just going to be the same, except now I'm his wife. And we have this legal document that says we're bonded together for life. So I didn't understand that there were certain things that he was expecting for me, now being his wife, to do. I don't know if you did that, but I realize now we definitely should have talked about that.
So no, that wasn't one of the issues. We went into it as a friendship and really had the expectation of it just kind of feeling like an escalated friendship.
Okay.
Um,
So where did it go wrong then if y'all were best friends?
Well, it went wrong before we got married because we went together in high school. There was a separation and then a reuniting years later.
Okay.
Now I can talk about that relationship from two standpoints. From the point where we were boyfriend and girlfriend, broke up, came back years later, got back together and got divorced. So there was a double cycle there. And now I never thought about this until this one moment right now.
Because I know.
I just had
what does that tell you?
I just had an epiphany that cycles repeat each other.
If you don't learn the lesson,
right.
Absolutely.
I just realized that we went through the same cycle twice. I repeated the same mistakes twice.
I think I did it about 4 or 5 times before I finally learned it. So twice ain't bad. I'm proud of you.
I mean, right.
Because some people still don't get it. So the fact that you learn.
Right. And I just figured that out. Like after all these years, I did it twice.
Yeah. Now that you know that. So what are these red flags that you ignore, that you're not going to ignore next time?
Number one thing is jealousy.
Okay.
I'm gonna call it a spirit of jealousy because it moved like a spirit. It's something that actually eats into a person's makeup.
The ego, absolutely.
Yeah. Jealousy creates a fear that you cannot satisfy.
Help me understand. What do you mean by jealousy? Jealousy in what regard? In what sense?
Um,
Or
it,
for the viewers, help them understand.
when I say jealousy in a relationship, and I hope everybody sees it this way, a jealousy is where you have something, you just don't want other people to have it.
But why would you have jealousy in a relationship? How does that look?
Again, like just that definition, you have something that, let me rephrase it. It's not that you just don't want somebody else to have what you have, you fear that somebody else is going to have what you have. So if a person approaches anything with a fear, that's an automatic red flag right there. That's the first step of these types of troubles, when a person has fear in a relationship, because now that you have fear, now you have extra accusations, you have mistrust, you have a lot of things that stem from that fear.
So can you explain to them what that looked like in your marriage when you say was jealous? Who was jealous? What did the jealousy show up?
uh, my wife, my ex-wife, she was jealous, um, and acted on a fear that almost any woman could have come around
Mm.
and gained my attention,
Okay.
made me look or whatever,
Okay.
or
Right. So it's
was the
an
begin right
insecurity.
was the beginning of
Okay.
all types of whatever.
I got you. Well, yeah, that's not going to work because you, like you said, if it's
Right,
rooted in fear, you're projecting that fear onto the partner, onto the connection, on everything. So,
right, yeah. Um, but let's talk about where some of those fears could come from, though. Like from a woman's standpoint,
mm-hmm.
what creates the fear that you're going to lose someone who's supposedly committed to you?
Usually it stems from childhood. You probably lost somebody close to you growing up, number one, like a parent,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe you never got over that heartbreak from when you was a teenager years ago. So
Okay.
now, especially because y'all already had this history off and on like this, she probably already had the fear when y'all got back together, even before the marriage. And also, she could herself had been stepping out, which thus creates a fear because now a guilty conscience needs no accusing. So now they're going to project it on you. But
Okay.
they're the ones that are the perpetrators. You know what I mean?
Right. But yet a fear that you will
Mm-hmm.
also do some of the same things. I
Exactly.
get that. I get that. But again, that also points back to the point before about the red flags.
Mm-hmm.
I saw it in the first relationship when we were in high school,
Right.
that there was inklings of jealousy there.
Okay.
That was an issue there. And it became the same problem in the marriage. Um, had I had I been able to think ahead.
But I guess you think an individual wouldn't be the same like they was in high school some years later.
And
But
you don't. And honestly, we had a conversation
mm-hmm.
about it before the marriage.
Okay.
And it was a conversation of not accusations, but it was more of a, where are we now emotionally? Where are we now in terms of
Right.
how jealous we're going to act towards each other,
Mm-hmm.
how possessive we're going to be? We had a talk like that to kind of, in my mind, to attempt to prevent some of the issues. So I didn't go totally blind into it, like, okay, I'm not going to make my mistakes anymore. But
Uh-huh.
I did at least try to take that measure of crossing off
Right.
all
Try to be
the,
proactive.
check all the boxes. And where are we now? Are we?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think we might have some of these same issues? So I did try that step.
Okay. Did you guys do any counseling or anything prior to getting married? Any coaching? Anything before?
No, we didn't.
Okay.
We didn't. We didn't.
I understand.
Yeah.
And I know I didn't either. Again, when I got married, honestly, it just felt like it was a business thing. I knew I loved the man and I didn't want to be with anybody else, but it was like, we got to go ahead and do this now because Obamacare kicking in and I need to get some insurance.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we just gonna go down to City Hall and do this. Again, it wasn't a big deal to me. And I guess it's because I didn't value the sanctity of marriage. I didn't understand the sacredness of it or the spiritual aspects. I didn't take it seriously because I didn't see anybody taking it seriously. I didn't
Okay.
have anybody
Okay.
talking to me or teaching me about these things. And the only advice I would get, it would sound like an auntie who is telling you, don't do this, don't do that, don't leave your cousin around your husband. You know,
Yeah.
messy,
Right. Yeah. Right.
toxic stuff. I didn't get valuable, wise, womanly advice. So I had to figure it out on my own. And I crashed and
Okay.
burned,
Okay.
but I learned.
Yeah. Wow.
But I also didn't tell them I was getting married either, because we kind of just did it and nobody
Just
knew. We were supposed to do destination wedding, and I just figured I'll just wait until then, but it never happened. So
now, how far into that relationship did you know that you were going to get married?
um I think our son was about 4 when I realized that we were gonna get married.
Wait. Okay.
I'm serious.
I mean, that's maybe when you had the discussion.
Because I never, honestly though, Gus, I never wanted to get married. Honestly, I
Really?
didn't. Because I was afraid of the change. I kept saying I don't want anything to change, and I kept saying if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You don't have to marry me. I'm okay with us just cohabitating. But he did want to marry me, and I'm
Okay.
appreciative of that. I knew I wanted to be with him, but
It didn't have to be a marriage.
it didn't have to be a marriage, and that's probably why I had that same mindset.
Okay.
And honestly, when he proposed, I was excited and I was happy. And the excitement of being engaged was super fun.
Uh-huh.
But realistically, I don't know if I was really happy about being married.
Wow.
Because the night of the marriage, we got married New Year's Eve, December 31st, 2012. He went out with his friend that night. I didn't care. I told him to. It didn't dawn on me like that was our wedding night. I'm at home with my son.
December 21st,
31st, New Year's Eve.
Oh, 30. I thought you said 21st.
31st.
Oh, okay.
Same day as my parents, ironically. But yeah.
I thought when is something like December 21st, 2012 was supposed to be like the last day of
right, the Mayan calendar.
Right, the destruction day.
Exactly.
Right.
See? And little did I know, I was already stepping into this new world, this new timeline. And boy, did my life shift, because less than 6 months after getting married, I had already had an affair. I was so unhappily married.
That was your destruction.
It was, because I wasn't being honest about what I wanted. And I didn't tell him that I wasn't really 100% confident about being married, but I was excited about my destination wedding, even though I didn't get it. But I'm going to be honest, a lot of women are. We're excited about the wedding, the idea of marriage. But when you sit down, what exactly is a marriage? It's more than just a lovey-dovey. The emotion for me now, looking back on it, should have been a partnership. Okay. It should have been us having some values, some goals for us, individual goals, collective goals, family goals. Mm-hmm. And I think my husband wanted that. But the way it came off, it felt like he was just scolding me, like he was trying to be my daddy. And I kept feeling like, oh, you just trying to control me. So I would resist. Okay. And then when I would ask for emotional support, what would he do? Give me the silent treatment because he's upset about a financial thing. So because he's mad at me and I'm not doing what he wants, he can't be there for me emotionally. So he would just ignore me. And what did that do for your girl who don't want to be married? I'm going to find somebody else to do it. I'm going to find somebody to talk to. And I did.
Wow.
That's no way marriage should be. We lost the foundation of our friendship because he and I had been together for 10 years before we got married.
So you definitely had a bond.
We did. We met in college. Yeah. Wow. He was the first man that made me feel worthy, though. Like, he had to tell me, like, you don't have to keep this. This is ironic. He told me that I didn't have to mess around with a guy who was basically cheating on his girlfriend. But he kind of was doing the same thing. I don't think about it. Mm-hmm. But nonetheless, he still made me feel very valuable and worthy. And he was different than the guy I was with before him. So it was a breath of fresh air. He's still a very good man, and I knew he was. But I never imagined him being my husband. That wasn't my idea. That just was not a part of the plans when I met him.
What about when you was a little girl? Like, did you dream of getting married?
I did. Oh, absolutely. I absolutely dreamed. I dreamt about it. Like, I would fantasize about it before I went to bed every night. But
so how do you come to that transition of
what I saw in my
want to,
family.
don't want to, want to?
What I saw in my family.
Okay.
I didn't see anybody happily married. And so to me, I was like, I don't want to be bothered with that. If I have to get married to go through what they're going through, I don't want to be married. And then I still end up going through what they went through.
Now I have to say, I know I mentioned earlier that my parents argued, blah, blah, blah. And I thought I was going to lose the parentship. I thought they were going to get divorced.
Right.
We decided which one of them we're going to live with as kids, even though that never happened.
Right.
The thing is, for the most part, I did see happily married couples surrounding me.
That's good.
Uncles, aunties, grandparents on both sides, blah, blah, blah. And even my parents, they had a good marriage and still have. They still married.
How long they been married?
We like 51, 52 years in right now.
Gosh,
right.
That's beautiful.
Right.
That's a lifetime for some people. Wow.
Yes, right. So I did see them fight and argue earlier, even though I never knew what the arguments were about.
You didn't need to, but that's what marriage looks like. That's what partnerships look like.
Right. But they were somehow able to reconcile. And so I didn't see a bad marriage.
No, because that's what marriage is.
That's where I was leading up to that. So I didn't see that. And I think because of that, I'm not going to say false expectations, but I had a lot of expectations of what
we can get through.
No,
we can't get through it.
No, what I'm saying. No, girl, let me finish. Because I didn't see bad examples of marriage, I developed within me an expectation of what I thought my marriage was supposed to be.
Right.
And I think I created more of a disappointment for myself early, because when I didn't see the things that I thought marriage should have looked like, more friendly, like more cohesively, with more teamwork. I got an uncle and aunt who love music so much, they all in the orchestras and playing together.
That's cute.
Like they have a common hobby, a common thing to do in life. I went into my marriage with those type of expectations, like, ooh, here's what we're gonna be. We're gonna do this, and
did you talk about that with her?
I don't think I ever had that conversation.
Because those were your expectations.
Right, exactly.
See, that's what I be saying. Yeah. We don't talk about these things. Because at least you had expectations. I had nothing. Like, it's not going to be different. Why? Right. It's just a piece of paper. It took me a whole year to even change my last name because I just did not. Now looking at it, I see why it ended. I just didn't take it that serious. I just knew I just didn't really want it. I don't think I really wanted it. Looking back, I know I didn't. I did, but I didn't. I liked the security of being with him and what we had, but I didn't really want to be a wife. Like, I wanted to still have my freedom and just be myself, how I always was, but he wanted a wife that was going to be a team player. And to me, I'm like, well, I am being a team player. I am contributing. So it was, right, again, things that...
Wait. When you say contributing...
to the bills, to the expenses, to the house, to the household.
I want to clarify that.
I know some people believe in the man paying all the bills. I didn't really believe in that. Okay. It was, we had a joint account and I had my separate account, which he knew. And it was a lot of trying to compromise, but I felt like, I think he would probably say it was the other way around. I felt like I was over compromising, meaning I was giving in to whatever he wanted, because a part of me felt guilty because I knew I had betrayed the marriage. I had stepped out. But at the same time, I was still doing myself a disservice because the more I kept trying to please him, again, pouring from an empty cup, the more drained and exhausted and resentful I became. Okay. So the more I cheat.
Did you ever think, like, as long as he didn't know?
He didn't know.
Well, I guess what I'm asking is,
he did.
Huh? Until he did. Right. Like, did it trick your mind at all to know that you were getting away with cheating on him and still maintaining your marriage somehow? No matter how difficult it was still continuing. Like,
you know, it's so funny, Gus. The first time I kissed the guy, it really shook me. I felt so bad. I'm like, how could I kiss another man and I'm married? But then he would continue to do the silent treatment thing. So now
you
it
can't
just
even talk
became,
about it.
I can't, now it just became easier. Now I'm like, oh,
Okay.
I don't even worry about this because I got something else outside. So honestly, I thought I was going to be able to live my life like this. I can be a married woman, pretend to be perfect Patty at home. And then when I go outside, oh, I'm going to be the real me. And that's what I would do. And then I would say, this can work. I can have a little fling a few times a year and still be happily married. I thought that was going to work, Gus. That doesn't work for a woman like me because I have too much guilt and I have a conscience and I could not live with myself.
I have always felt like if there's a moment that I feel like I have to go and be with somebody else,
you should just do it.
No.
Just leave.
Yes.
Just leave.
Yeah, just leave, not just do it.
No, I meant leave and do it. I didn't mean no. Not while you're married, don't do it. I mean leave the marriage and then do you.
She finished my sentence. The minute I feel like I need to go be with somebody else, just do it.
Nike.
But no, for real, like whether it's a marriage or just relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend, if you feel like maybe you need to just be with somebody else, maybe that is a clue to just end that one and then go on to the next one. But to try and combine the two, I never felt like that was one of my desires because that felt like a harsh limbo to me. Like,
it wasn't combining the two. I was living a double life. Because the person that I was messing around with was married too. So we very much had a clear understanding. We knew what it was. Okay, so it was perfect because it was convenient. It served its purpose until it didn't. Again, when you're going through these things, all of that stuff is temporary. As a woman like me, that stuff got old. I still became unsatisfied. It was like, now you're not even available because this is what happens when you don't know how to find happiness in yourself. So then this guy no longer is emotionally available like he was before. Now I'm resentful towards him. So now I'm done with this one. And eventually it's going to be another one because, again, I kept trying to search for this happiness, for this emotional fulfillment that I wasn't getting from my husband, but really I wasn't giving it to myself. So I'm I kept trying to think it was in another man. I don't understand. I controlled that. I was thinking it was somebody else supposed to give it to me.
But you didn't like feel like you should just end the marriage?
Why would I do that? No,
so you can Gus, at least be free.
I didn't want to be without him. I just wanted to have a little flexibility, a little ha. No,
I mean that's cool.
But no, I didn't, because that was the thing. I never not wanted to be with him at that time. I was content. We had a house. We looked good on paper. I wanted my family.
Okay, so you didn't.
I wanted my family, right? I wanted my family. I didn't want to be a wife, but I wanted to be with him and I wanted my family. But the wife thing, it was like, whoa, wait, pause. What is all of this? I didn't sign up for this.
I mean, that makes sense.
When I was going through things, now I need my husband to be there emotionally. He couldn't because he's upset for his own reasons. Now we beef and now it's War of the Roses. Now you mad at me and you can't be there for me because of what I didn't do for you. So where is the connection? Now we're losing the friendship. Now I see how he and I lost our friendship because it became a one-up. We trying to outdo one another. And instead of me communicating what I needed, I would get frustrated. I would get resentful. Okay. So that was my way of acting out. Oh, I'm just going to find somebody else to get back at him because I felt so controlled inside the house that when I got outside, it was like, oh, watch this. You can't control me now. Acting like a kid. Okay. But that's what it felt like.
Now I just thought about something. I think we talked about this before, but they don't know. You got married in 2012.
And did.
My divorce was kind of finalized in 2012.
Ooh, new beginnings and endings for us both.
Right.
So how long were you married?
9 years.
How long were you all together off and on before that? Or total?
Total? I never really, because there was breaks in between.
Right.
So 3 years of high school for me.
Okay.
Um, there was actually a break between the time I went to college because we was a year apart.
Okay.
She ended up coming to my school
Mm.
after she graduated. I can't say the word. Graduated, moved on to the next level.
Okay.
In education. We tried to get back together that year that she came.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't quite the same.
Mm.
It was just a lot of things was kind of different. I think we grew into, in a very short time, two different people.
As you will, because we grow as individuals.
Right. So that didn't last while we was there. She ended up going back home too, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So in between the time that we was in school and college, I got out of school. Between that time, she had almost gotten married and had a child.
Okay.
So a lot of time went between us being together in high school and then by us getting married. So that's again why I kind of felt like things would have grown to be different because so much time went by. Right. So I had a lot of reasons to think whatever we went through in the past relationships that the marriage would be way different.
Mm-hmm.
And I was still trying to remember the time before we even became a couple back in high school, how we were really the best of friends. That thought never left my mind. Like throughout all of the traumas of the bad parts of our relationship, I always had the remembrance of, dang, we used to be the best of friends. Before
and you were never able to get back to that point?
Oh, no.
Was it her? Was it you? Or was it just both of y'all that just decided not to?
You mean decided not
to get back to the friendship?
It wasn't a decision. It just kind of happened. But again, I think I'm gonna blame it on the expectations of the relationship and what it should have been on both sides.
See,
on both what?
Expectations. Here we go with this word.
Right.
I realize I don't want to use the word expectation anymore. Let's come to an agreement. Because when you say expectation, that's pressure.
It was.
And that sounds very much like slavery. You are expected. They talk to us like that's at work. And I'm like, no, we got to come to agreements because we have to both say we're going to be committed to this. Not, I'm expecting you to do this. That's, I think, why a lot of marriages have this imbalance.
Yeah.
Because now you're putting this requirement. Now it's like pressure. You got to do this. You're expected. How about we agree that you gonna do, I can do this, you're gonna do that. Can we agree like this is what it'll look like? This is how I plan on approaching my next marriage.
Yeah.
Because we gotta not put so much pressure on each other. First, accept each other as human beings, not human doings. They're still individuals. You are still a man. I am still a woman before I am anybody's wife, mother, husband. You know what I mean? So let's get to the core of that out of respect for each other, first and foremost.
Right.
We lose the respect out of a lot of things too. We really lose the respect. That's where things really go wrong because we lose the respect. I know I didn't respect myself. The fact that I could do all of that, I didn't respect me. I damn sure wasn't going to respect my husband.
I think the problem with expectations is that the expectations come before the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Like it would be nice to have a conversation and come to some agreements.
Exactly.
But I think they come in the reverse order. Like,
so when are we supposed to talk about this? When are we gonna come to these agreements? Before we pop the question? After we pop the question? Before the marriage? When do you start to have those conversations?
Honestly, it's a cultural thing. I think it takes more conversations like this. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the reasons why we even decided to do this.
Make it make sense.
Yeah, let's make it make sense. We want to make it make sense for you the same way we're trying to make it make sense for us. I think the more we have these conversations and develop our culture around this topic right here, let's put the conversations before the expectations. Let's not have so many expectatious pressures on each other when it comes to friendships, relationships,
any partnership. And that's the biggest issue is we don't have effective communication skills. Exactly. We don't communicate effectively. Right. We allow our emotions to do the talking most of the time, or we just completely shut down and withdraw. And neither one of those are healthy. Nothing gets accomplished. Where is the connection? Where is the friendship in that? how do we work on it if we don't even address it? Because like you said, your parents have conflict. That's what partnerships look like. You have to have some conflict. When are you going to grow if y'all don't ever come to a disagreement? How do you know what needs to change, what needs to expand? Where do we need to do things differently? Where is the time for some change, or are we being stagnant?
Right.
What needs to shift? Because like you said, you and your girl, y'all grew. As we go, as we grow and get older, we all grow. So how do we grow together? I think that's a big problem too, is people grow differently. And then what happens when your relationship isn't equally yoked? One partner's evolving more than the other. Do you wait on the other partner? Do you try to help them? And then do they feel like you're pressuring them?
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of things we don't talk about when we decide to do these things, but these are things we have to think about. Nobody talked about it in our generation before us. Like I said, my parents were just separated. What happened? I don't even understand. My son was trying to figure out why he and his dad and I are divorced. Well, now he knows, and it's in my book. But they need to see that so that they know that it's not going to always be easy. No relationship is meant to be easy. I think were we were raised to also think that movies made us think that Disney, unless you watched the soap operas like me, you knew it was mess.
Right, yeah.
But we just didn't really have, and then again, times were different, but just, I know me, I didn't have a real picture of what marriage looked like.
Yeah, I think sometimes people go into it without realizing that there's responsibility involved.
And it's more than just paying bills.
Right, right.
And being a provider.
It's about really knowing the person that you're with, learning their communication styles, learning their argument style, learning their triggers, learning their personality. What makes them tick? What type of person are they?
We take our partners for granted a lot too, especially after you've been together for so long. And I remember a friend of mine always saying this: we got to start back to dating. You should never stop dating your partner. I don't care how many years you've been together, you still should have to make time for that one-on-one connection. Because we're going to get caught up in life, because life will always life. We're going to always get caught up with kids and work. What about the connection with your forever partner? Because that's what we think when we go into marriage, right? Forever, ever?
Forever, ever?
Well, I want it to be forever the second time around, because I ain't no spring chicken. But I see that we don't balance those things. We don't even have balance in our own lives. So when do we balance our connections with our partners? When do we make time? Some couples do, but a lot of times they don't. Everybody's just going through the motions. And then you just end up almost living two separate lives, even though you are cohabitating. But it's almost like a stranger in your house. You almost don't even recognize the individual.
But see, that's why I like the word friendship. If every relationship was a friendship, like, think to yourself, what would you do to a friend versus not do to a friend?
Exactly. And how would you help a friend if a friend was in need? Right. If they was in those shoes, how would you support them?
How would you talk to a friend if they were in trouble? Exactly. How would you, if y'all had a disagreement, how do you treat your friend in a disagreement?
Some people treat their friends dirty though. But that goes back to how you feel about yourself on the inside. But not only do you have to have friendship, what are your core values? What is the foundation of our partnership? Okay. What are we building? What are we growing towards together? What are our dreams, our goals? What do we want to do together? 20, 25 years from now, are you going to retire? Are we going to travel? What are we going to do? I didn't have these conversations with my husband. I didn't even think I was going to be alive long enough to even see any of this stuff. I was just very pessimistic. But thinking about it now, I'm like, no, when I do this again, because I'm not playing around, this is it. Right. Okay, like Michael Jackson say, this is it. This is the last time. So let me make sure I have these questions addressed before I say I do again.
Well, that's the same thing I did. I had a checklist of things that I wanted to talk over with her. Like, right. Basically, are we going to have the same issues that we had back in high school? And like, now I think about that now. Maybe that was a little harsh on her. Would that have sounded like an accusation to you?
I guess like I think it depends on how you would approach it, and maybe That's why I asked, did you have any other support? Because I know for me, I will work with couples before they get married because those are the things that I will ask because you want to address those, especially if you had a history from years ago and you notice these things. And
Right.
you had every right to ask that, especially with you asking her to be your wife.
Well,
Oh, she asked you to be her wife? I mean, her husband? I'm sorry.
hey, look, I know we living in a day and age when
I didn't mean to say wife. My bad.
No. Wait, where were we?
I was saying you have the right to ask those questions, especially if you were asking her for her hand in marriage.
Okay, so actually, I didn't actually propose, y'all. It so that's kind of this leads into why I felt the need to ask those types of questions.
Okay, so what you do?
What happened was
you woke up and you was married.
What had happened was
what had happened was
we started going out again on kind of like a temporary basis.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't really even call it going together. We didn't even call it that. It was just a familiarity already from
comfort zone,
right, from my past. And then it was okay, you want to go to this place, you want to go this place, but we didn't call it dating again. We didn't feel the need to say that.
No label.
I guess.
Right.
It took a matter, I want to say like 5 months before somehow we started talking about planning a wedding. And it's so vague in my mind and cloudy and unclear. Wow. I really don't even remember the point where it was will you marry me?
Okay.
I don't even know if I even said those words.
Did you have an engagement ring?
We did, but it was after deciding to get married already.
Okay.
So, but the point where there was like a,
down on one knee, you didn't do all that.
That it never.
Yeah, interesting.
And it just kind of, we just decided, we about to get married.
Right.
And I don't really remember the.
Woke up and the eyes married now.
It happened so fast. So that could be seen as a good thing, that it just kind of flowed and meshed into something. But I think because it happened so fast and because I didn't feel traditional about it, we didn't get a chance to plan a big wedding or anything like that.
I didn't either.
We got married at my parents' house on Thanksgiving Day.
Okay.
And it was kind of like a rush thing.
Like me.
Yeah, so I don't know. I didn't feel rushed, but
you didn't do a lot of planning to get
right. We went from day 1 to 5 months or something like that, and we talking about getting married. And I don't feel like I was pressured into it,
right? Especially since you didn't ask.
Well, she didn't either. But let's be fair. Wait,
I'm joking.
Wait, let me backtrack a little bit because a lot of people are going to watch this. This is not a bashing session for either of our
no, it's not
past.
I just think that's interesting.
Wives and husbands.
Right, but it goes back to like
I actually, we have a working relationship, a working co-parenting relationship. So
good. You say working, it just work. It's barely like we just
it's functioning.
Oh, okay.
It's a good co-parenting relationship.
Okay, I guess I didn't think about it like that because my relationship with my husband, we're friends. Like we found the friendship again, and the co-parenting has never been an issue. Always, no matter what happened, we always agreed on our son. And even when we was going through our roughest patches, the darkest periods, no matter what, we always agreed on our son would stay with his dad because I can't raise a black boy in America to be a man. And, he would just come back and forth.
Okay.
But over time, once I started healing and, like I said, doing my work, I had to make amends to him, not for him, but for my sake. Mm-hmm. And it was in that it created a new beginning for he and I, because then we were able to create a friendship. And now we have this friendship where I know no matter what, it's more like family. No matter what, if I needed something, he'll still support me. Mm-hmm. And the same.
And vice versa. Right,
exactly.
Right.
And no, we're not remarried. He has moved on. And he even has a girlfriend, which I support. I've met her.
cool.
And it's all love, but a lot of people have a hard time seeming to understand how he and I get along so well and we're not together. And people would always say, well, y'all gonna get back together. No, we're not. Like, we have mutual friends, and usually we go to their house on Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
So we end up together on Thanksgiving again, and it just feels like a group of friends.
That's cool.
Hanging out for the holiday.
That's really cool.
And really family. It just feels like family because they are family.
Yeah.
And I couldn't ask for it any other way, because no matter what, I still always had nothing but love for that man. And I always wanted him to be happy. He deserves to have a woman that can treat him the way he deserves to be treated. I just wasn't in a position to do it.
Okay.
So it's love, but it's not always like that for a lot of people. And I know a lot of females that are so angry at their children's fathers, baby daddies, whatever you want to call it. And they talk bad about the fathers in front of the kids. Mm-hmm. Or I know women who have boys and they treat them like they're the man, or now it's a toxic dynamic.
Right.
So now he thinks he your man because now you done made him think he your man. And, you all I got. I don't agree with any of that stuff. And I've seen that happen. And I always wonder, sis, what is this really about? Are you mad because he didn't choose you and he moved on? Or are you really mad because he's not here in your child's life? Because I've seen women who will get mad at their children's fathers and deliberately keep the child away from them and their family. Yeah. And I could not understand that dynamic because you're only hurting your child.
Okay. No, I never had to worry about any of that. Like, that was never the issue. Like, I'm grateful for that part. Now, as far as our current relationship, we get along. Mm-hmm. We never put ourselves in a position to where we would like use the word friends, but it's friendly, if that makes sense. So we're definitely co-parenting,
right?
And getting along. There's no,
fighting. That's right, because your daughter's 20, so
yeah, she's 20 years old, but we are still really involved. Like,
right? No, I'm saying
even at her age, like, we've always.
What we arguing for? She's 20. She gonna make her decisions anyway, right?
Yeah, but even when it come to the kids involved, like, we've, even to this day, we still parent very closely, even maybe more close than what people would even imagine or recommend. But I think that, I know, it's how do you judge and
measure? You ain't gonna recommend how we
right
choose to raise our child.
But as parents, we're doing great.
Good, as we should.
But I wouldn't use the word friends, just because still I think that dynamic was lost in the marriage.
It was.
It's not that I can't see her as a friend and I don't feel friendly towards her, but I guess the boundaries that are set imaginarily, we never talked about it, but we just don't. It's not that a friendly type of relationship.
Yeah,
it's workable, but not friendly. But not in an enemy type of way either. So it's it's a really good neutral.
It's a nice neutral, right? And I think
the best neutral and mutually beneficial. And we kind to each other and stuff, like do favors or whatever. But like friends,
right? And I know, me and my husband are friends because, like I said, I can call him and bounce ideas off of him.
That's cool.
Because he's a creative type, and I'll do that. Because, again, I trust him. I've known the man over 20 years. I trust his expertise, his guidance, and who knows me better than him? And because we're not married no more, guess what? I get to be completely honest and free and open with him. Mm-hmm. And I don't even give a damn if he judges, which he doesn't. Because I ain't his wife no more, so he ain't even emotionally invested like that no more. Right. So I couldn't ask for anything better. It's perfect. That's why, again, I go back to, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You should have left it like this. No, I'm just playing.
Now, me and the ex are like family, though.
Yeah.
Like, she's still come around for the holidays and all that type of stuff. And, I go over her house for Christmas and open gifts with the kids and stuff like that. Yeah. So,
I remember I was dating somebody once. This was shortly after we divorced. No, we hadn't divorced. We had separated. We had been separated for over a year. Mm-hmm. And I was starting to move on, and I was dating somebody. And he felt some type of way that we spent Christmas together. because we have a son. And I told him, I said, no, every year we rotate. Either I go to his house so our son can open up gifts or they come over here. Mm-hmm. But that's not going to change. And then I remember one time I asked my husband, can he grab my Starbucks for me and drop it off? His Starbucks is 3 blocks away. So the guy I was talking to happened to be on his way. He was like, you need your coffee? I said, oh, thanks. I got it already. He said, how you get it? Because he knew my car was getting serviced. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, I had asked my husband to drop it off. So he felt some type of way about that. And in my head, I'm like, but why? He didn't pay for it. I just needed him to grab it because I didn't have a car. And I knew he had to drop our son off, and he in between. You may as well. I was being strategic and pretty smart.
So what you just described was jealousy.
Yep. And that's why I didn't date him long. But that's exactly what that is.
He felt like what he had, you was dating him. Not in possession type of way, but where's it?
But right. He was threatened. He was threatened by my husband.
Right.
Because he was legally still my husband. But I did file for the divorce out of respect for him. I said, you're right. That's not fair to you. If I'm going to move on, let me go ahead and just move on fully. So I did file for the divorce.
Right.
That didn't last long, the situation with Buddy, but it still worked out.
Yeah.
But you're right, jealousy.
Yeah, having something, but you're afraid that you can lose it.
Well, people ain't yours to have and lose to begin with.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Not in a possessive type of way. What I'm saying is,
I know,
in a relationship, if you have the relationship with the person, that means that person is somewhat committed to you.
Clearly, you don't trust them. That's on you.
Right. So why would you ever have to fear that somebody else can come and change?
Exactly. Good point.
Why the fear?
Fear is the opposite of love. Where's the love?
And if there's love, then there's not going to be that fear.
Exactly.
Like I couldn't imagine feeling confident about somebody, but fearful at the same time.
Yeah. Like I can't understand how two people can be together and one of the partners can be jealous of the other.
Right.
I can't understand that. That baffles me. That's just even with friendship. I can't understand how anybody who says they love and support you could be jealous of you when you have wins or success. That baffles me. That really, really, really baffles me.
Relationships turn into competition.
Yeah. How are we in a partnership if you're competing with me?
It has to be a partnership first, I think. If you see that person as your teammate,
you should, right?
It's a team sport. In a team sport, there's only one trophy.
That's right.
Everybody don't get a trophy.
Interesting. Make it make sense.
Make it make sense. Talk about it.
So, yes. I was talking to my friend the other day about what it was like to start over again after divorce when I was dating. Mm-hmm. And I was terrified because it was the first time I had been single as an adult. Because I had been with my husband since college. I met him when I was 20.
Okay.
And we had been together until basically I was 35. So when I separated and moved into my own place, I was 35, but that was scary for me because I had never done it before.
Okay.
And because I had been so conditioned, I'd been with that man for 15 years. I didn't even know how to think by myself. So, and I'm like, what man gonna be with me? I'm an adulteress. I done cheated on my husband. I got a child. And oh man, I just thought I was the worst woman in the world. No man was gonna want me. This is what I thought.
I mean, but nobody knows all that information.
I know, but I felt this way. I felt this way about myself. This was the story. This is why I was terrified. And then I remember my friends would be like, "Ooh, the dating pool is piss," and I'm like, "Y'all just trying to scare me." So I didn't know, and I didn't know what I wanted because I didn't want to be in a relationship, but I was open to meeting people, hanging out, not so much companionship, but just exploring what was out there because I didn't know and I wasn't in a rush. And God sent me anything. Anything. Oh no, this wasn't it, Spirit. This ain't what I want. This ain't it. So I threw it back.
Nah, I wasn't afraid at all.
Don't be scared.
No, I wasn't scared at all. It's just, but I think I kept getting hit or bombarded with the same types of bad situations.
The same
Types.
Interesting. So what does that tell you?
I wasn't looking for it, but here's very specifically people who were married, either married, unavailable altogether, either in a relationship or married. Those were the same types that somehow followed me.
So they followed you. I'm gonna have to challenge you, my friend.
Did I attract it?
Clearly, because that's I'm about to tell you.
How do I attract married women?
Because you were unavailable. You were emotionally unavailable. You wasn't looking for anything else. That's the energy you was giving out, so that's why you was attracting the same type. Like I told people, same shit, different toilet.
So it felt comfortable for them to be with another person who they didn't have to commit to.
And apparently so did you. Because you didn't want to commit to them, did you?
Well, that didn't exist. That element didn't exist. There was no
thought. So you knew that they were married?
Eventually, yeah. Eventually.
Which meant you wasn't interested in being with anybody then, right? Permanently. Because you wouldn't have messed with a married woman. You would have found somebody that was available then, right? If you wanted to be in a serious situation.
Right. Now, don't get me wrong. It wasn't like upon discovery that somebody's married that I continue to have like a relationship with. But the thing is, those types still attracted me, or I attracted them, and sometimes I didn't even know right away who does. But eventually, you find out, oh, they ain't married. Oh, they got a boyfriend, or oh, something. Blah 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 blah.
Interesting. You said that. You said who does. So here's my thing. Again, being a married woman who had affairs, most of my affair partners were in relationships. So we made it very clear to each other. Even the one person that who wasn't married, he knew I was married. I don't understand why we got to lie. You make it more complicated lying to the person about your situation. If you married, be real about it, because there are people out here that are willing to be in situations with married people. Well, so just be real about it, right?
Well, like you said, if there's a conversation about it, and there's agreement, that's different than somebody being deceptive.
That's my point. So why are you being deceptive? Find somebody that's going to be willing to do this. Don't waste my time lying.
There you go. But no, I wasn't, besides all that, I wasn't ever afraid of getting into another relationship after divorce. It was just, I felt like I had some of the bad luck. You know what I'm saying?
Bad luck. That's what you got.
Right. I was getting satisfied though. like sexually satisfied.
I know, because a woman that listen.
but it is something to that. Somebody that know they're cheating, they getting away with something. I don't know if it's just more exciting or something.
It is. Because we're getting temporary gratification.
Right.
We're getting something that we're not getting at home, because the minute the woman starts to emotionally detach from her husband, the sex ain't gonna be the same. She either gonna pull back completely, or it's gonna feel different. And if a real man know his lady, he would instantly pick up on it. He would know, because the dogs used to give it away when I didn't been messing around, because we used to have a boxer named Apollo. And I'll be damned if Apollo would always come put his face in my crotch as soon as I come in the house. Get your ass on. Apollo gone.
You know, pheromones was
right. Listen, and I'm like, this is giving me away. But my husband didn't notice it. And there was a lot of clues that he wasn't picking up on, because I started doing different things. You remember the Tyler Perry movie, Why Did I Get Married To? When he found out his wife was cheating, because she started, I think she had a different type of underwear or lingerie.
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes we do that.
Unconsciously. Like you don't know you're doing it, or you know you're doing it.
One time, this might be TMI. But one time my husband said something to me. He was doing my laundry, and he mentioned something about my underwear. Be real. And I'm like, oh, I didn't realize my essence was flowing more freely, and it was a lot thicker. And he noticed that, and I'm like, oh,
They could have just said, "I'm thinking
Wow.
about you, baby."
Right, right.
I'm thinking about you.
I was like, jeez. Okay. He actually wrote on a pair of my underwear once and put
What?
Mike's pussy.
What? Okay.
I'm laughing about it
Just in case
now.
somebody having to read
Yes,
that
because
message.
after this point, he done found out I done already stepped out, so now he not messing around.
I
So
mean,
now he gonna try to put his name on it. Oh wow.
wow.
Isn't that terrible? But yes, and I was upset, but now I'm laughing like, you know what?
I mean, but
And
you know,
guess what? The man still would not have cared. It could have been his name right on the.
that would have been the biggest joke.
It definitely would have.
Now, I mean, I've been in situations too where, okay, I'm with this person, got a boyfriend, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of husbands and boyfriends don't realize how often it might happen where you think you calling your girl, she there with somebody else, and then they laugh at you after you get off the phone.
And that's why the male ego be so shattered when they find out their lady cheat on them. Because the first thing that they come is that ego, and they're like, "You embarrassed me in front of another man." I never did that though. I wouldn't answer.
There's people that do. They answer and they just so bold with it. I've seen it.
Well, no, that was that
I
one
mean,
time. It was messy. Ooh, ooh, it got ugly once, real bad. Yeah. So going back to after the divorce, because now we know why we got divorced.
Yeah, right.
But the fact that y'all would laugh at the spouse, that says a lot about that woman. That's what I mean by no respect at all for the man that you say you're gonna be with, or even if it's just your boyfriend, it's still a matter of respect.
So here's another thing with that same person. I have to be honest and admit this part. At some point, I felt like, why don't you just leave him? That's the only time I ever felt like that in my life.
Did you ask her?
Yeah.
And what did she say?
It was more of the explanation I got. I guess was lying some bull crap. But we just didn't. What's the best way to say this? We was too much of friends. That sounds a little strange, but when she said that, I identified with it because I once said that to somebody else.
So you don't want to jeopardize a friendship. Okay, I can understand that. And at what point did you realize this? When you said, "Why don't you just leave him?"
Yeah, that's when it really like.
And did y'all end it after that?
No, it was not right away. Not right away. It was some rockiness leading up to the let's just leave it alone part.
I see.
You see.
Interesting.
You see how it's developed.
I do.
Right.
How?
Because some things don't end when they're still good. It's just that one part of what's the word I'm looking for?
Just that one thing that she was in a different situation.
Yeah, right.
And how long did it last before you finally ended?
Probably like a couple years.
Interesting. So say it again. You keep attracting these women, they just keep finding you. See, that's what I'm saying. That's the energy you was giving out. You spent 2 years in that.
Yeah.
So that's telling universe, I don't want an available partner because I'm okay being
satisfied with something that's not available.
Yeah.
Right.
Live and you learn.
Yeah. And then there's sometimes the thing where you're not ready for a relationship because it was a time when I wasn't ready for a relationship, but I was okay again with being satisfied with something I didn't have to be in a relationship with. Or something I knew wasn't going to turn into a relationship.
Right.
So again, that was like a safe zone. I don't want to be in a relationship, so I'm in a situation where I don't have to be.
So that's fine and good, but does the other individual feel the same way? Do they want to be in a relationship, or are they in agreement? Because this is where the issue happened. People don't be honest about what it is that they want in the beginning. Most often, we don't want to scare the person, especially
Right.
women. But I'm at a certain point, I'm 41. Now I know what I want. And I'm not telling the person on the first date, you're going to be my husband. But I do let people know I am going to be married within the next 3 to 5 years.
Okay.
If not less. Because if God say, here he is, come on, husband. But let's just see. But at the same time, if you know that you don't want that, then don't waste my time, because I won't waste yours.
Yeah, but again,
And we could just be friends, and I'm okay with that too.
right, if that agreement is made.
Yeah, but let's just be honest about it in the beginning.
Now, it's been my experience that a lot of women don't have the capacity to be just a friend and engage in extracurricular activities.
Because it's not possible. If we're going to be friends, there will not be intercourse. When I say we just going to be friends, I'm not about to cross that line, because now when intercourse gets involved in intimacy, that's different. That woman has already allowed that man's member to enter her essence. We're creating a spiritual and or not even a spiritual, an energetic and, like you said, chemical bond.
It is.
And women, we are naturally equipped, because we give off this chemical, or the man puts this chemical in us, and now we're naturally just going to be attracted. We're going to want to be with them. It's going to create this emotional stir up inside of us, because we're going to want more.
So you're saying that would be the reason why somebody might think they can handle that type of relationship,
and that's why it never works.
Okay.
Either the woman is gonna pull back because her feelings gonna get too deep, and she knows she got to pull back because she doesn't want to be hurt, or she gets in too deep, then get her feelings hurt when the guy still say, no, I don't care how much cookie you done gave, how much money you done spent, I still don't want to be with you, sis.
Yeah.
And either way, it's a waste of time that you can't get back, and energy, as opposed to just saying it in the beginning, what it is that we want. And maybe it changes.
Well, that's
throughout.
The thing. It is said in the beginning, this is what we're going to do. But like you said, chemically, I guess it changes a woman to where
right,
a decision is made. She didn't know she was going to make the decision.
And I'm a person that responds off of energy. So when I feel a shift in your energy, I'm going to say something to you first. Right. And if I still continue to feel it and experience it, then I'm going to completely pull back, because I'm going to now match your energy.
Right.
So I'm not going to keep pouring on more, because I've done that before. Then I exhausted myself trying to get this person to pour back into me and give me the same energy that I'm giving them. Again, wasting time, exerting energy and time that I can't get back. So now I'm at a point where I tell people, no, this is what I want. Tell me what you want. How can we come to an agreement? And I'm all about going with the flow and being present. But if you know at the beginning, at the core, what you want, like for me, I tell people what my values are, what I'm doing in my life. Anything that's anybody or anything that's not in alignment with where I'm at this point in my life, it's not for me, and I'm okay with accepting that and accepting people for who they are, meet you where you are.
So ultimately, in your opinion, do you feel it's even worthy or advantageous at all in any way to entertain yourself and waste your time with someone that you know it will not ever develop into something else?
No, if you're not looking for anything serious, then by all means, have fun. Or if you just want a friendship, by all means, have fun. Or you just want to fling with string, do you. But be honest about it.
About what you want.
What you want. And you got to be honest with yourself. A lot of women be trying to pretend like they don't want more, but they do. Or then they get in a situation, and then the feelings develop, time moves on, and now they're like, well, I want more, I don't want to say anything. What if he says no? Where's that going to leave me? Am I ready to have that conversation? Because I could possibly lose this person. Because if they tell me no, I either going to stay here and wait on them, or I'm going to say I'm not going to wait on you and find somebody else that's more ready. But a lot of women are afraid of that because they don't want to lose the person. I get it, but again, it goes back to, what do you value and what do you really want for yourself?
Now, I made some mistakes to where I did waste a lot of time doing this. Even though I do value marriage and I want marriage, I have always wanted marriage. At no time did I ever feel like I don't want marriage or don't value marriage. But until I found myself in a situation, I'm with somebody, excuse me, until I see that I'm with somebody that I actually want to be with, I made the mistake of still allowing myself to be involved with these people that I know won't take me anywhere as far as what I desire. So in that respect, I feel like I did do a disservice to myself to waste that time knowing what I did want. So I wasn't even with these people because I think it's going to turn into what I want. I actually wanted something opposite of what I was giving myself. Just wasting the time.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Goes back to if you don't know what you don't want, then you're not going to find it.
Right.
So let me ask you, were you sexually active in all of them situations?
No, not all the situations, but still, even if it's not that, it's still a waste of time.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
And that's something we can't get back. Money you can replace, but time and energy you cannot. Be more conscientious about your time. But I realized that I didn't know what I wanted after I got divorced. And there were a lot of frogs.
Okay.
A lot of frogs. And the more I saw what I didn't want, the more clear I got on what I truly did want.
Okay.
And sometimes you got to go through that to determine what it is you want. Frogs. And the frogs. Oh, man. Frogs, tadpoles, all of it.
But when you kiss them, they turn into a prince, right?
Nah, son. There wasn't no kissing. Nope. No kissing. But even thinking about dating after divorce, especially if you got children and co-parenting. Because for me, being a woman, I always was taught or always heard a woman can't bring a lot of men around her children. A man can. He can bring as many women as he wants, but a woman couldn't do that. It was always a double standard. So for me, it was like, at what point do I decide on when my son should meet a person that I'm dating? And do I tell his father first? So he and I made an agreement. I would let him know first, because then I would tell him, there's a chance that our son might meet somebody, but I want you to know first. That was always the agreement that he and I had.
I always wonder sometimes, though, when we don't allow the children to see the development of new relationships and we hide that part of our lives from them. And then all of a sudden we decide we're serious with this person. And then now we want to bring them around the kid. Is that...
So then here's the catch-22. What if your kid just don't like them? Now what?
Right. But you waited all that time.
All that time.
Your relationship developed.
And now it's like...
You didn't give the child a time to develop a relationship.
Because that's a good point. Because the person is dating y'all, you and your child. Because it's a family. We are, especially at a certain age. Like my son's 17. I ain't got to worry about that too much now. But you still very much know it's a package deal. It's a me and a plus one. You're right.
Yeah.
That's a good point. But I just think, though, like I said, the way I was raised, the things that I heard, women can't do that.
Right.
And I'm like, but why not? And a friend of mine had to challenge me on that. She said, or your son could just think that you just had to date until you found the right person. Again, at least for me, I was raised where parents shelter kids from all of those things. Right. I'm the opposite, though. I need my son to see it's real out here, and none of us have it all figured out. Even though I can be as grown as I am, I'm still going to make mistakes, and I still got lessons to learn. So none of us are perfect. So I don't expect you to be perfect.
Exactly.
But the way that I would judge myself about that was pretty difficult for me. Like, I don't know. But it was even hard just adjusting to dating life, period, after divorce. Again, I had been with this man for 15 years, since the early 2000s.
Right.
Okay. And I did not know how to date. I didn't understand the rules. Because I'm used to just being with one person daily. So sometimes I would overstay at some people's houses and they wouldn't tell me. I didn't know. I'm like, well, tell me. And I know you think I would know because I'm 35, but I ain't dated. So I'm used to this.
Right.
But they didn't know that because they had never been married.
Okay. Now, I didn't know how to date either.
Yeah, I get it.
I mean, I was married for 9 years.
Yeah.
Now, the first time I even started really spending like quality time with somebody, it was somebody much younger. Too.
Okay.
So my style of dating, versus her style of dating,
totally different.
Well, yeah, my idea was different from hers, and it was kind of like sometimes it was a little small battle. Not a real like battle, but a battle of the mentality.
Yeah.
Like, what we doing? Like, what we doing? Like, it was yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
I tried to date somebody younger than me. He wasn't that much younger.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe about 3-4 years. And I'm going to be honest. I was curious because I thought I was in my early cougar years, my early cougar phase. So I'm like, oh, let me get this young tender. See how he going to work it out on me, right?
He need to go to school? But
No, and that was all wrong because I shouldn't have gave this young man any in the beginning. But I was just curious. I was trying to see something. I'm going to be honest.
So, I mean, what happened?
So when I realized that I just wasn't into him like that because of his mentality.
You freaked out.
What? Gus, I broke it off with him. Now, in all fairness, he did just book this trip to Miami. This was his. He insisted on doing this.
Okay.
And I know it was fast. I only known him for about maybe a month. Mm-hmm. But again, I'm having fun. Now I'm adjusted to single life.
Now.
And when I explained to him, like, I think we both can agree that it just not working out. We don't really have much in common. So I just think it's best we just go our separate ways. I'm not going to go to Miami with you.
Okay.
And he like, wow, no, you definitely took me out of left field. He did not accept it well at all. And he would call and harass me from different numbers, text me. It was crazy, Gus. And that went on for like over a year. It was so bizarre. And I'm like, what? Because I gave him some. Boy, oh my God. See, this is what my black ass get. And I never did it again. This is what happens when you don't be serious about what it is that you want.
Okay.
I didn't mean to play with the young man.
But you made him think that.
I didn't know it was that serious. But then I kind of found out he was just like that anyway.
I mean, yeah, so okay.
But I didn't make him think anything. I never told him I was his girlfriend.
I know. I wonder though, how does it happen where two people think two different things?
Because we're two different people with two different mindsets.
There you go.
And different life experiences. And I had been a married woman.
There you go.
And I realized that there's a level of maturity that I require.
There you
go. But again, I wasn't with him for that. But the more I could see, especially when I realized that the whole myth about the younger boy wasn't true, I'm like, well, that was the only reason. And you didn't scratch that itch. We have nothing here because you're not a good conversationalist. When you call me, we just sitting on the phone. I could be doing something else. You taking me away from my own. Like, make this make sense, young man. And I'm being respectful. I could have just ghosted you. But I'm a grown woman and I'm communicating effectively. Just telling you, I'm just not that into you. You can't respect my truth.
Right.
Which one hurt? Either me telling you the truth or me just completely blocking and ghosting you, never to hear from me again. To me, that feels very much, first of all, you're a coward. Secondly, that seems more rude and more painful.
Right.
And also, I'm a woman about mine. I don't have to ghost nobody. I can tell you how I feel. I'm not afraid.
Exactly.
That's why I can't understand why people ghost, period. It's weird, but go ahead. So strange.
I mean, right.
Just talk. Tell them why you mad, son, or tell them why you don't want to. It is what it is.
Yeah. I think the key thing of relationship is relate.
Yes.
If the two people don't relate, it's not going to be
no purpose.
Right. So, I mean, I get it. You had that one common interest. Y'all just wanted to,
I just wanted to see something.
So there you go.
And I saw it, and I'm like, oh, I don't want it no more. I ain't seen enough. And in fact, I tried it again. I was like, okay, I'm getting the benefit of the doubt. He was drunk. And then I'm like, okay, no, 2 for 2. That's all I need to see. I'm tired of your presence. Dismiss. No, I'm just like, but am I wrong? Men do it all the time.
I mean, as long as it was honesty.
And I was honest.
There you go.
But here's the other thing too, though, Gus. What? He had a picture of what he wanted. I never agreed to be your lady. He had introduced me to his mama, to his family. We just been talking for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Somebody tried to hit me with that once. Like, talking about, yeah, you want to come? They was having some kind of family function or something and wanted me to come to it.
Right.
And meet the family. I was like,
right.
For what? Like, what's going on? Like,
I don't even know much about you.
Right. Nah.
So, and that's why it's so important to communicate about what you want. What are your values? What do you want for yourself? And how are you going to support me in my life? Because for me, it's about reciprocity.
Okay.
It's about how can we support each other. I give, you give, we both receive, not more than the other, equally. Right. And I need a partner that's going to be able to support mentally, spiritually, obviously physically, emotionally. Notice I didn't say financially.
Right.
I don't need you to support me, but if I need help, I would like for you to help me. But I don't need you to support me because I'm going to get mine. Now, how are we going to expand this? How are we going to grow and evolve together?
I mean, to me, that just equals friendship. If you're a friend with somebody, it's just
true connection.
Certain things just seem natural. It's not a matter of I gotta help you or do you want to?
Right.
This is your friend. You want to?
Right.
Yeah. Right.
But some friends can't even do that.
Right.
But that was so. Yeah, that's what happened with me after divorce. Now I'm clear on the fact that I'm about to be somebody's wife. Mm-hmm. So let me be in the wife position. So now I don't waste any of that time. I make sure I be clear. I'm not saying you're going to be my husband, but I'm letting you know I do have a timeline. I have a timeline for me personally and professionally. Mm-hmm. And that happens to be one of those things. Right. No pressure, King, but I'm just letting you know about 2 years, if we still doing this,
exactly.
I'm going to need you to know either you're going to do it or let's just separate.
At that time, it's a waste of time. All. You said something earlier. You mentioned equally yoked. Mm-hmm. Like, what do you really mean by that? Explain that for people watching.
I mean, equally yoked, meaning I pour into you, you're pouring into me. We are both giving and receiving equally on every level. Spiritually, I feed you, I water you, I nurture you, you're nurturing me. Mentally,
right.
Emotionally, we have a deep bond. We're helping each other both give and receive. Now, I don't mean in terms of gender. I mean in terms of actual energy. And I'm not talking about on the 3D. I'm not talking about you giving up this much money or you paying these bills or him taking out garbage. I mean on a very deep spiritual level.
I got a little illustration for that.
Okay.
So a yoke. You ever seen one of those wooden things connecting two cattle together? Mm-hmm. The connecting part is called the yoke.
Oh, okay.
So if you got two cattle, they tied together.
Side by side.
The purpose of them being together is because you got more strength. You got one on one side, one on the other. And they pull in the plow. But if they're unequally yoked, if one is taller than the other, if one is shorter than the other, if one is stronger than the other, if the one got shorter legs, if they're not equally yoked, they're not going to be able to work.
Because somebody's going to always overgive.
Right. You got to have the same amount of power, the same amount of strength, the same height, the same equally yoked.
Yeah. That's exactly what I keep telling you. Alignment, basically.
Exactly.
That's exactly what it is. We're not even in alignment with ourselves. But again, we don't think about that because we think about, well, what is this that I'm getting? How are you going to provide for the family?
Right.
We look at those things, the 3D things, money, houses, cars, those things. But we don't think about how is this person going to help me grow? How are we going to grow together? How are we going to evolve together? If something was to go down, if I'm not having a good day emotionally, is this person going to be able to understand and support me? Or if I can't get out of bed, are they going to understand that? Because we don't think about those things. When the bad gets bad, oftentimes we ready to run. Are you going to be here through the thick and thin? We don't know nothing about that too much these days. I'm not saying we got to put up with BS and disrespect. Definitely have boundaries. But at some point, when things get out of balance, how do we pick it back up to get back in balance? Because sometimes one partner may lose a job, one partner may lose a parent. So that means somewhere their energy is going to be
depleted.
Thank you.
Right.
So they're not going to be able to fully give into you. So how can you help them get back into balance so that they can be there with you again?
How do you respond to
exactly. That's what we don't see or really truly think about.
I think that just hit me. I have a lot of epiphanies when I speak, but when I said the word respond, that immediately made me think, if you're responsible, you automatically want to respond. If you make yourself responsible for your reaction to this person when they're having their bad moments, their bad days, that helps, to me, that would help you make a decision on how to respond.
Mm-hmm. Most of us don't know how to respond. We didn't get taught how to respond, especially when it comes to people's emotions. Because I'm going to be honest, a lot of men are afraid to be truthful because they're afraid of a woman's emotional reaction.
Yes.
And I'm going to be honest, Kings, that's some coward stuff. That's weak. I mean, even if I'm talking to you over the phone, you can't just respect me enough to just tell me the truth over the phone. I can't hurt you physically.
Right.
With some sticks and stones. Words ain't gonna hurt you, right? So you can't take me cussing and fussing or whatever or crying. That's weak. Man up. And I'm just saying that because that goes to show how uncomfortable you are with your own emotions, that you can't handle her emotions. I dealt with somebody like that and I couldn't understand. I'm like, why are you like this? And then I realized it's because he was so emotionally unintelligent and so afraid of his own emotions that when I would have an emotional reaction, he didn't know how to act. It was like I was talking to a child.
So what was his reaction like?
He would either shut down, don't say anything, or he would get defensive. When I would say, I feel like when you're doing this, this is how it makes me feel. And he would start to like roll his eyes, act like a kid. And then I would get confused. I say, help me understand what it is that you're hearing. Because my feelings are valid. I'm not accusing you of anything. Right. I'm telling you how it makes me feel. Feelings are neither right nor wrong. They just are. Because you can't tell me how I feel. You're not in my skin. Right. But any adult should be able to have this conversation if you're emotionally intelligent and mature enough. Right. But that's why I said a lot of men don't. And then that's when people get to ghosting. Because y'all afraid of emotions and people's reactions.
I've never been a ghoster. I'm like the opposite of a ghoster.
Me too.
I'm a talker and I'd rather talk it all the way through for hours if I can come to a conclusion or a resolution. I'd rather do that than not talk at all.
Or just be honest.
Right.
Just be honest. Because one thing about me, I'm going to ask you a question and I want your truth. Your whole truth. I can handle the truth. I'm a true speaker. Absolutely. I know a lot of men don't believe women can. I remember when one of my exes and I got back together, I asked him because he had booked the trip, but we broke up a month before the trip. So I said, who did you? I know, right? They love to take me on these trips. But I asked him, I said, so who did you go on the trip with? He didn't want to tell me. I already knew it was his ex. And I'm like, why won't you tell me? So to me, it was bothering me because I'm like, well, why are we finna get back together and you're not going to be truthful? I should be able to ask you anything and you should be able to respond. So he finally told me a couple of months later because I left it alone. But I'm like, no, this is still bothering me because I was having dreams about it. And that's how I knew subconsciously, like, it was around the eclipse last year in April. And we had it. And I finally said, can you just tell me who it was? Why are you trying to be so secretive? It doesn't matter. I just want to know if you, first of all, going to tell me the truth. And secondly, I just want to know, what did you learn about yourself during that time? What made you go back there and why are you here now and what's going to be different? I'm not here to throw it in your face. I want to see what you learned. What was your purpose for spinning the block? Because now you back here in my face. So what is this really about? See, men ain't ready for that. That's the kind of conversations I'm about to have. And they think I'm trying to throw it in their face. No, King, I'm trying to see you. I'm trying to get you to see yourself. I'm trying to learn you because I want you to see you're making the same mistake. You're doing the same thing. You're going to keep flip-flopping. Right. What do you want? And we wasting each other's time because none of us know what we want. And when I do. So I'm trying to get you to see, do you really want me? You probably don't know what you want. So don't waste my time.
One thing I never understood is trying to have two things at the same time. Like, that's never been part of my mentality. It's always like, okay, if I don't like this, I need to try to get rid of this and go to something else. But
and we don't spend enough time with ourselves to figure out.
But to try to juggle two at the same time, I never.
It wasn't juggling because he and I weren't together when he went with the ex. Like, we weren't talking. We wasn't together. And then when we got back together, they was done.
Okay, so you weren't together. Oh, but he just couldn't be honest about who he was.
Right.
Okay, I got you.
Because when we got back together, I definitely asked.
Okay, I see.
So, right. But it's just so funny. I'm like, y'all so scared. Again, people so scared to speak their truth.
Yeah.
Well, why are we sitting here fornicating and doing all this sucking and fucking if we can't be honest about how we really feel about each other? Let's just be real. Again, you can let this man inside of you. You can put your mouth on this woman's booty, but then y'all can't be real about when y'all not into each other anymore. And y'all just gonna ghost each other. Help me understand. Make it make sense, soulmates.
Why the ghosting?
Why?
Because somebody can't handle the truth.
Being a coward. Exactly. Because they can't handle the truth. That's you just being weak. You being a coward. I'm sorry, you're just being a coward.
Yeah.
Because it's your truth. And if that's how you feel, that's how you feel. And what that other person thinks or their reaction, they'll eventually get over it. Like that young man had to get over it. He lucky I didn't take it to the streets. He don't understand. Right. I'm from the east side. I'm like, young man, please leave me alone. You do not want this. My people don't play about me. Please stop.
I mean, how far did he go with trying to force you? Or
he would just randomly text and call. Every time I would block, it would be another number. Mm-hmm. And it was so weird. He like, you want to go to Tennessee? Who the F is this? And it's Daniel. Oh my God. It is 2:00 in the morning. Are you serious? I stopped talking to you 10 months ago. So now I have to block because you're overstepping my boundaries. That's the only time I've ever had to block somebody.
Wow.
Or when I felt like I was going to overstep. Because when my ex broke up with me, he wouldn't tell me the reason why. See, this is why I'm saying being a coward. Because when I was trying to ask him why, he didn't want to answer the phone. Make it make sense. You say you love me. All the stuff we've been through, you can't give me the common courtesy and the respect to just be honest. And I know it's something because you know I'm very intuitive. And I'm like, something in the milk ain't clean, but it's cool. And then later on, he admitted he was scared.
Scared of what?
Commitment. You know, y'all kill me with this. Like y'all swear somebody trying to take y'all power. I don't get it. And here's the thing. What did you think I was going to do? Ask you to marry me? He lived in Atlanta. I wasn't about to come live with you. Wow. Make it make sense. But what it is I got that comeback and I got the Erykah Badu. They can't handle it. Look, Lord. They get mesmerized and now they scared because they in too deep. And it's like, oh shit, it feels too good. I don't know what to tell you.
Hey.
I ain't for everybody, but because one thing about me, I'm honest because I'm going to tell you my truth. I don't give a damn if you try to judge because I'm proud of where I've come from. If the man that's going to be with me going to be like, shit, he ain't going to care. He's going to be like, wow, you been through some shit, queen. I'm proud of you.
Right.
Make it make sense, soulmates.
Making this stuff too hard.
I was even told by a man, you know what's funny? A man that ghosted me told me men don't ghost, women usually ghost.
But then he ghosted.
Narcissists say stuff like that, though.
Yeah. But narcissists, liars, anybody that's doing anything.
Manipulators, yes.
Yeah, right. They're always going to talk against the thing that they do. like
this is the red flag. This is clue number 1. I'll never lie to you.
Or better yet, I ain't got no reason to lie to you.
Right.
I don't got no reason to lie to you. Everybody that lies
the person
says
lies
that.
to themselves. Yeah. Yes. I'm like, the fact that you said that is a lie. Why you even start with that? That just lets me know. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. You have men that will be all in their male ego to try to hide their emotions. And then you have men that are overly emotional who will lash out and express their emotions. I once had a guy who I just started talking to, Gus. Mm-hmm. Told him I might come by and see him. He, I guess, had kind of just went through a divorce about a year before. He was back with living with his mama. And he was trying to invite me over. He like, I'm a grill. Oh, okay. But I ended up going to my auntie house because it was my cousin's birthday, who had got murdered a few years before. I'm about to go be with my family. He like, I don't appreciate this. You know, I don't deserve this, and I love myself too much. I love me more. And I'm like, what are you talking about? We're not even together. What? It was so bizarre, Gus. It was the weirdest thing. And he kept trying to get me, because he was a comedian, kept trying to get me to come out to the comedy show. I'm steady pulling back because I'm like, some of the milk ain't clean.
This was all after the little barbecue.
This was, yeah. I never went over there to see him. Then I remember he called me once. He was in the car with his mama, talking about they going to the mall because he had to get something to wear for the show. Do you think this is cute? Now, why I want to come see you? And now and then you get mad when I'm not responding to you. I'm just not that into you. And I think I made that very clear. Now you talking about you love you more. What? You supposed to.
Right, yeah, right.
I know you don't love me. What? Oh my goodness.
I wonder if he had something big planned for this barbecue thing. Like
I had to block him too. Because he kept calling me. I was actually on a date with somebody else and he was calling and texting. Oh my gosh. People don't understand boundaries. Then, you know what? I blocked him. He ended up messaging me on Facebook. I forgot I didn't block him on it. Because he called me from his mama phone. And that's how he knew he was blocked. Then he like, well, since you blocking me, you may as well block me on here too. And did. Overly emotional.
Would you, this is a sidetrack. Do you answer the phone on a date?
Unless it's family, my son, I will.
But what if it's like another man or something?
Oh, no, of course not.
Just out of respect?
No, not anymore. I did that when I was married. And the man has the nerve to get mad. Sir, you know and I'm out here with you. You know I clearly don't respect you. But no, I don't.
I don't unless somebody says go ahead and answer it.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Otherwise, I'll just, man.
Yeah, if it's like, I don't really make a big deal about it. Especially if I know that individual is a busy person, they're a businessman. I understand that. You can take a call here and there, but make it quick.
Right, exactly.
Don't sit here and just kiki all night, because that's disrespectful.
It is.
Because I'm going to give you the same respect. I hate to see couples on dates and they just sitting there on their phone. I was that couple. And now when I see people like that, I'm like, yeah, they so unhappy.
You mean that was y'all in marriage?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because you can't even sit at the table and have a conversation with your significant other.
I've been there.
I know. That's just the uncomfortable feeling.
Yeah.
It's just the uncomfortable feeling to not be able to fully be seen with the person that you're with or feel valued. That's that. And I'm saying that as somebody who was there, it's really hurtful because it's like, wow. And I put myself in that position because I couldn't just be real. I just did not feel like I could 100% be me in front of my husband, because I'm like, oh, he is not going to like this. He going to judge. He going to say I'm this. I'm too loud. I'm too that. I couldn't wait to leave outside the house. And then I didn't want to come home after work.
Too loud.
Like, yeah, because I like to engage. You know, I'm an extrovert. Yeah.
But what about when you was dating? When you still just as lively?
I was. I was.
What's the difference?
He didn't like it then either.
Oh, okay.
But I wasn't.
That's what I was wondering. Like, yeah.
But we didn't even go out that much after we got married. I started going out more after I got married because I didn't want to be at home. Oh. I remember somebody said, they like, for you to be a married woman, you sure be out a lot. Looking back on it, it makes sense. But at the time, I'm like, wow, I can't come outside.
Man, see, we got to learn how to not go for something that we don't like.
Mm-hmm. Like settling.
Because that's, or just settling or finding a different reason to stick with something. But you got to consider the things that you don't like. Like, even though I'm quite sure there was a whole bunch of stuff he did like and loved about you, but if those types of things was going to still fester on him later on, all the things he didn't like, then maybe that should have been a decision to not get involved.
I remember one time a friend of mine had a masquerade party, and me and my husband went.
Mm.
I felt so uncomfortable because this was the first time he had actually went out with me and my friends and their significant others.
Ah,
And all of these people I had known since high school.
okay.
So I've been knowing them for years. It was so awkward because I didn't feel comfortable because he was just sitting there being quiet with his mask on the whole night. Take that damn mask off.
Right. You didn't have
And the
yours on,
guys
right?
were interacting with him, but he wasn't, having back to back dialogue. And I felt uncomfortable because I'm like, he don't look like he having a good time. So I thought I couldn't have a good time. See how I had to dim my light? That's what I would do.
Now, okay, I got a story to flip that around. Let's turn the tables. I'm out with my wife at the time.
Mm-hmm.
We were at a class reunion.
Okay.
Now we too had a lot of the same friends and everything. It was her reunion.
Okay.
We get there, and we at that time I think our marriage was kind of like it wasn't at its worst. It wasn't
But
at
it
its
could be
worst, but
better.
it wasn't good. It could have been better. So we walk in, we see everybody, and everybody, hey, they to both of us because we
Right.
know all the same people. Um, we sit down at the table. She wants to like have fun and engage with all her classmates, but not include me.
Mm.
And I couldn't understand why at first. So she leaves me at the table. Basically, I'll be back. And so she off and around and blah, blah, doing
Oh,
whatever. And I'm
wow.
at the table by myself. But guess what happened by the time she came back to the table? I had other people sitting at the table with me because people decided to come and join me. And they buying me drinks and everything.
Wow.
But that made her mad for some reason.
Because she probably felt embarrassed.
I didn't think of that.
I would have, because I'm like, damn, everybody over here with my husband. I feel bad because I just left him here.
I don't think she felt embarrassed. Well, at least I didn't. I
I
didn't
think
feel
she
like
was
that.
jealous.
I think it sometimes she made hints of that type of jealousy that I would get attention or um, her friends paid more attention to me than her. But I couldn't see it that way because you was off with the people that you wanted to be with.
Right.
It just so happened to be that others gravitated towards me. But I don't think she felt any guilt about leaving me at the table by myself. But it was right,
Clearly.
you know what I'm saying? It was just like, go do
I would
your
have felt
thing.
guilty after I got back and saw all them people sitting there with you. Then I would have felt guilty like, oh man, they came over here to keep him company because I damn
Right.
sure left. And I wouldn't do that. And that's why I felt uncomfortable because I'm like, I can't just leave him here because I want to get up and
Right.
engage, but it feels awkward.
But then it got to it was almost like questioning me too. Like am I messing with some of the people there? You know what I'm saying? It was just
Oh, okay.
weird. It
Now
was
that's a
just
whole
weird.
nother
Yeah, just
level
weird. It's like, yeah.
weirdness.
I mean, but it was still in my mind, I'm like, why are we not here together? Like,
Absolutely.
why are we not walking around here together? I don't know. Those are just one of the things, and we didn't even spend a lot of time talking about that situation. But that's something that stuck with my mind. Like maybe something I need to clear out of
Right.
my
Yeah,
psyche.
but that
But
goes back to again the dynamics of being in a connection in a relationship. What's the agreement? Like when we go out, I know you don't know these people. I guess what is the expectation, or not the expectation, but what's the agreement? What's the comment, the courageous thing, the respectful thing to do in that situation?
the common courtesy, or
Yeah, have your partner with you, introduce them to people. Because at the same time, I know she want to be with her friends. Did she ask you if you wanted to go over there and engage with them, or she just said, "I'll be back"?
just I'll be back.
See,
I think what it was is I don't know, maybe it was a level of uncomfortableness. Like I said, our marriage wasn't at its best at the time. So I think it's a matter of not being able to fake the funk.
Right. Too. Okay.
So you go to one of those reunions like that, you kind of want to show up happy and act like,
True.
I'm successful and this is that. That's what you want in those type of situations. You never want to have to say, things ain't going so well.
Right. No, you don't.
Or so maybe, yeah, she probably just wanted to have that separation and not have to have the explanations of why we not looking happy or
right.
why we not hugged up or whatever. Or I don't know.
Interesting. I don't either.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Make it make sense, soulmates. We're going to bring the love back into the connections. We're going to rebuild these relationships from the
One step
ground
at a
up.
time.
One step at a time. Make it make sense.
Make it make sense. Talk about it.
We got to pay some bills.
Okay. Commercial.